Okay, this is week 11, Outlook number 2. Sorry for the delay, engaged in other activities. So let's go ahead and begin with the British Pound futures. All right, so staying on let's start at the daily today. All right, so on the daily, this is what we were looking at before, identifying this was a major structural point in which we were testing. We were very sensitive to it, and that gave a response to pushing back to the upside. But as you can see, we're having a counter response in which more of the premium side pressure is beginning to surmount and push price downward. And so we're going to get more resolution here on the 4-hour time frame. And this is where we see that from the 4-hour perspective, we did get the break of structure, and then we had a transition after the break of structure to propel bullish price action towards our 4-hour structural point according to our bearish run and also our bearish bias. And we actually ended up getting a break of structure of the structural point. But it seems that immediately after the break of structure, we formed more bullish price action in which we had a high created, a low created, a new high created, a failure to create, and then we had unwillingness after that high was created. And as you can see, we immediately, very, close price action, decided to break structure of the previous low here that was generated after the break of structure here, showing another transition, an immediate transition of the bullish price action after taking the structural point into bearish price action. And so this is a major point here. If we're looking at it from a little bit deeper perspective, is that we've attacked a structural point, triggering these buy orders, as I stated in the last outlook, and that triggered the bullish price action to take out a structural point. And I said, once we take the structural point, we need to assess what action is going to occur here, in which we did get a break of structure, and then we would have to assess the price action to see if we wanted to continue looking for buying opportunities. But as we look at this currently, you can see that there are no buying opportunities here. Everything is balanced. So this move was well sponsored to push to take out this objective, this liquidity point, this structural point right here. And then once it achieved its objective, we then transitioned yet again, triggering more sell orders that were a part of this run here into action. And now that led to the break of structure of this low that was generated. And then we pulled back into this price gap. We see that we had some sort of sensitivity here, but that failed. And now we're continuing price action lower. And so this holds, this is conducive, or this is also like supportive of our bearish bias, in which this bullish price action as of right now is very short-lived and it's reached its objective. And so I'm very curious to see if more people would be looking for buys in this perspective. At this point, I am 100% still looking for selling opportunities. We're still a part of our program in which we are now looking to take out this low here that was generated upon the creation of this bullish price action after clearing this structural point. And then now we should be looking to move down towards our next two macro structural points. So we have a lot of room to go here, and this is not uncommon for price to have, a major run, and then once we get to these structural points, you should understand that there is going to be a lot of sensitivity most times to these structural points, but that does not mean a lot of the times that we're going to completely transition and clear all of the price action that we had just generated. I mean, you have to think about it. This low effort liquidity run was generated to take out this objective here, which was a previous liquidity point on the macro perspective. And then after that, we have very well-structured bearish price action that formed following the triggering of major sell orders here at this liquidity point. And now you can see that we're clearly running lower. And so any resistance at structural points from the macro perspective that we see, we have to take with real, caution as far as the actions that occur here, because because of the well-structured because of the market structure that's formed here for the bearish bias is very, very strong. So I would not be surprised if we get continuation here now of the bearish bias to take out, these immediate 4-hour liquidity points and then start moving towards our next structural point. We could still get a little bit more sensitivity, a little battling here, but as you can see, we've clearly had one transition and two transitions in succession that would have been missed by a lot of people, but we'll see what happens going from here. As of right now, as I stand, there's nothing left in this bullish price action that would yield to me that we're going to continue higher. If it does, I'd be surprised, very surprised. But as of right now, there's nothing, especially looking at it from the 4-hour, there's nothing that's to me that's like, hey, we're going to continue looking for bullish plays. If we do, it is what it is. That means that this bullish structural point after these buy orders were triggered was strong enough to overwhelm the selling pressure here and premium or the sell orders here, and will continue to go higher. But as of right now, I just don't see that. So TLDR, looking for continuation of bearish price action. All right, moving on to gold. All right, gold is, as expected, still ranging inside of the range that we discussed. We're just on the premium side, just chopping it up. All right, so nothing crazy to talk about there. Now the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ, we talked about that we had cleared a previous liquidity point / structural point, which was this low here. And then we wanted to assess what the action was at our structural point or internal structural point that led to the break of our external structural point there. And as you can see, I said that, hey, if we get a draw on liquidity here, we're going to continue lower. If we get a break of structure, we're going to continue higher. Well, as of right now, we have a draw on liquidity. So we should be expecting continuation of bearish price action. This is going to be very interesting now because there's a lot of stuff going on. But from the technical analysis perspective, or from the graphical analysis perspective, price action analysis perspective, all we have is just a draw on liquidity at our structural point, a failure to continue higher, and we drew liquidity here, so thus transitioning us again from bullish price action to bearish price action. And so yet again, the same logic. I'll mark it up here for you. After we took this low, we had an action occur here, which was a draw on liquidity, triggering a bunch of buy orders. Those buy orders were enough to sustain price action to move higher to take out this structural point here internally of the previous price leg that we had marked up. And it failed to continue past it. It failed to break structure, showing that there is still a very strong presence here from sellers that yielded a liquidity draw in our action. And so now that we have that draw on liquidity, we are seeing price action move lower. So the immediate target is this low here. There's nothing else inside of this other than potential areas of interest, but because of this transition, because this is a draw on liquidity, I'm very skeptical of, mitigation of this area of interest, mitigation of this potential area of interest. These aren't really, very strong candidates for looking for buying opportunities. So I would, look for continuation of bearish price action towards this low here that was generated, and then even lower depending on the action that occurs. Okay, so that's what we're seeing on the NASDAQ, continuation of bearish price action. Now, silver, like I said, we're not doing that. All right, Dow Jones, this is very interesting here because everything on the premium side to me is balanced. There is nothing unbalanced on the premium side. We've balanced pretty much everything on the discount side of the range that I have marked up. Then we pulled back to mitigate whatever this 4-hour price gap was here that's straddling the discount and premium side. And so to me, this range is completely balanced, and I think this is going to go. There's nothing that I see that would lead me to believe otherwise, other than just an immediate failure of price to continue lower. So assessing it from the action perspective, we talked about last time, or if we did, But nonetheless, here we had an action occur at this low, at that liquidity point that I have marked up here, notated by this black line, in which we had a draw on liquidity, which led to triggering bullish orders, which led to price action moving higher. And where did that go to? Remember, price is always seeking liquidity points to mitigate. It went to the last high that led to the break of that low, and that's there. And what happened here? Not only did we get a draw on liquidity, but we got another action, which is the action of mitigation, in which we mitigated this price gap here at 50%, as you can see right there. Cool. So we mitigated 50%. So this is a, a combination of actions or action confluence where we got a draw on liquidity of a internal liquidity point, and then we had mitigation of a price gap, and now you can see that that's just triggering extreme selling or bearish price action here moving forward. So the immediate target off this bearish price action is going to be this low, and then the next low is going to be here. But I'm convinced that if we take this low, we're taking the structural point, and then it's just free fall from there. And that will expand our range to going lower. But we'll see what happens from there. As of right now, we saw that was a draw on liquidity. We have action mitigation, so I can get rid of that. No longer need this anymore. To keep it simple, this is what the price action is looking like. The range to me is completely balanced. Now this thing is ready to make its move, and my bets are bearish. I'd be very surprised if we have bullish price action. My bets are bearish, and if we drop, I think we're going to drop for a minute. All right, and yeah, that's it for the Outlook 11.2. Peace.